Hello, all. Welcome to On the Winning Side. My name is Luis Mendez, and today we're going to go over setting business goals the right way. If you're looking to start a business, one of the things you want to do is make sure you have your why kind of have everything set. You want to be successful. At the end of the day, regardless of what it is, the main reason you're starting a business is you want it to be successful, right? I'm sure it's a complete no-brainer. Well, one of the things you should do if you have a business is setting goals, and setting goals the right way. Now, I created this course, and I'm sure if you're into setting goals, you may have heard of SMART. Well, I'm going to go over my way of how I set up SMART goals. So let's take a look. So here it is. This is called, before I get into SMART, I really want to get into why we set goals. Last week, if you've seen the presentation, I went over on the whys. Why are you doing what you're doing? Are you doing it just because it's a job? Or is there a purpose behind it? Is there a family you're trying to feed? Are you trying to get out of debt? What's the motivation that goes behind what you're doing? Well, after you find your why and know your motivation that's going to drive you to your success, you want to have a goal. And what's the goal that's going to, sustain your why? And having a goal is going to give you direction. It's going to give you the energy, the fuel to continue going regardless, same as your why. And it's also going to give you a clear target and know exactly what you're doing, what to hit. And I'm telling you, once you achieve your goal, it's really awesome. Or if you go above what you set up, it's good. Now, the reason I kind of paused there is because that's part of the SMART thing. I have an achievable part, but I'll explain that. Now, next, this is what I was referring to as the SMART goal, something that's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Now, I'm going to break each one of these down, and as you see, of course, I do have an X on achievable, because if you achieve your goal, I believe it's way too small. But when you have a large goal, and the first goal that you have, once you achieve that, or once you make more than you expect, that is like winning the Super Bowl. That is like winning the world championship. That is such an awesome achievement when you are able to make more than what you made last year. When you're able to, get out of debt. Whenever you're able to, provide for your family. When you could retire your wife. When your wife never has to work again, and you could be the sole provider for your family. That is one of the most amazing achievements that you could make. Now, we'll get into that. But let's get into what's specific. So let me move my face here. So setting specific goals, you want to make sure you have a clear and precise goals. So like it says here, it means there's no room for confusion. And I like to put it as your goals should be so clear. It's like you're telling a 5-year-old directions on how to get to such and such place. You want to have your goal written out where it's very precise. Instead of I want to do better next year, you want to be like, by each quarter I want to, for real estate, I want to make sure I sell 2 houses per month minimum. I want to reach this amount of money by doing this. So you want to have your goals, you want to make sure that it is very precise and clear. You don't want it to be vague. So having a vague thing is almost like a wish. Like it says here, I want to do better in real estate, or I want to do better in my new business. I just want to succeed. I just want to keep the doors open. That's not saying much, because it's just out in the air. It's just open. It's just gas. But when if you have a restaurant, or if you open a business, you want a specific goal, but you want that goal to achieve something as well. I want to like for real estate, you see this a lot. It's like, I want to make $100,000. Well, what is that going to achieve for you? I know I saw a post online saying in New York, if you want to buy a home in New York, you need to make the minimum $400,000. And I'm like, that's insane. Because making $100,000 is you would think in some places, like if you're in some rural area, $100,000 is a lot. But if you go to certain areas of the country, $100,000 is middle to low class, which is, it's bananas to even say that. So you want to make your goal so specific that it achieves something. I want $100,000 because the $100,000 will be about 24 houses. If I sell 24 houses, that'll be about $100,000. It's going to be 2 houses a month. That's going to provide all the needs to cover my mortgage, my car. My wife never has to work again. With that, we could purchase, the type of foods. We could go on the type of vacations we want. We could give to people that we need to give to. We could be a blessing, So when you have it in that precise goals, now you have a mission to accomplish. And that's how you make it where it's focused and you could achieve that. So the next one, let's see, is measurable. Kind of like when I said, what 100, if the goal is $100,000, if it's 24 or here 30 properties, you want to have, what I have is I have 30 little houses, or I'll have a chart, and it's like a thermometer, and it lets me know exactly, knowing how much I get there. I could see it daily. I could walk through it, and if I see it's in the same spot, it motivates me to push a little harder. If you're cleaning houses, you want to have 2 houses per day. You want to put on there, what is that going to achieve? What do you want to achieve per month, per quarter, per week, per year? You want to be able to chart that down and measure it, so that way you could see it. Also, a good way to measure your success, which a lot of people may not realize this, is having happy clients. Do you have clients that you're working for? Are they bringing you business? One, of course, that doesn't necessarily say that it's not true, but there's some jobs that really thrive on referral businesses. And do the clients that you work for, are they going to refer you? Have you done such a great job with that they're going to refer you, and then you end up having lots, like 50% of your business comes from referrals? That's a good way to measure, I'm doing a pretty good job. So that's a great way to measure your success as well. And then also turning your leads into clients. If your goal is to have a certain amount of income or a certain amount of deals or a certain amount of stuff, one, you need leads. And getting these leads could be very, very easy, but converting these leads to qualified clients, that's a whole nother story. Think about if you have a store, you have a ton of people walking into your store. You don't want window shoppers. You want people who's actually going to pick something up and purchase something, and that's the same way of converting a lead. You don't want window watchers who's looking at, window shoppers who's going to your website, your Facebook, your YouTube, who's just looking at your stuff. You want people who is actually going to convert and become a watcher, a viewer, or a side person to an actual client. And that's a good way. When you put out leads, you have a lot of people who are interested. You can put out a $50 lead, get in 100 leads, a $50 ad, get 100 leads with that ad, and probably have a 1 or 2 conversion. But it's pretty good to notice you could measure your success with the amount of leads that you're coming in that's getting with a higher percentage of turnout. You can measure what's the percentage that you're getting every time you get these new leads. What's the percentage of them converting? That's a good way to measure for your goal. Now the next one I kind of want to park here, which is the achievable versus the 10x. I'm sure you've heard the past few years, you've heard the 10x, the Grant Cardone's 10x thing, and the old school way, which is the achievable. Just, hey, have a goal that's within sight, And I agree with both, and that's why I'm right in the middle between them. When I first started real estate, I was working at a coffee shop, and I was making $20,000 a year. And when I found the first guy, it was like he who brought me in. I had him be my coach, and I was like, hey, I want to do, I want to do real estate. What do we should do? And we got to the point where we were talking about goal setting. So he's like, how much do you want to make? And I'm thinking, well, I've made 20,000. I'm like, my managers, they make 50,000. So if I could make more than them, that'd be amazing. I was like, so $60,000. And I was like, to me, that was big money. And mind you, this is 2008, so even 20,000 was pretty good. But $60,000, that was my mindset. Sorry, this is a little later, like 2014. I got to the point where I'm like, I want to make $60,000, and his goal was making $450,000. He's like, $60,000, that's way too low. He goes, scratch that. He goes, you need to make $100,000. And in my head, $100,000 was just so unrealistic. It was just like, there's just no way. It somehow didn't calculate in my head, and it closed off. It was just, it didn't make it real. It didn't, because I couldn't see it. And now after you do real estate, you're like, okay, well, you sell 4 houses, that's 60,000 right there. So making $100,000 is not bad. So you could really see it later, but at that moment, my mind wasn't there. So the achievable goal is to have a goal that's something attainable, something it's in your comfort zone. It's low risk. It's just a little bit more than what's normal. And then the 10x is whatever you think that is, times that by 10. And where it's high risk, it's going to be high performance. And so what I like about that is, whatever you see that's achievable, times it by 3, 4, 5%, but times your work effort by 10%. And, what I like how Grant Cardone always talks about, he's like, if you fall short of your first goal, of your achievable goal, if you fall short of that, you're going to feel kind of bummed out. But if you times it by 10 where it's unrealistic and it's like, how am I going to make, $1 million or $2 million, $5 million, it sounds bananas, but how am I going to do that? But if you fall short of that one, I'd rather fall short of a 10 times goal versus a small time effort goal. So that's the difference between the achievable and the 10x goal. So I like to kind of put them together, and that's how I would like to get the achievable 10x goal. And next one is making it relevant. This could be really, really important for people, because like I've seen a lot of realtors do this. They set a goal, or they're in real estate, but they want to be a YouTube success person, or they have, or if they're doing one job and then they want to have a total something different than what their main purpose is. So whatever your goal is, make sure it stays in line. If you have multiple goals, multiple missions, that's a totally different, different ball game. But, like I said, if you're in real estate, focus on real estate. If you're in cleaning homes, lawn care, open restaurant, whatever your business is, make sure the main goal stays on course, so that way you could track it and it could, make this be successful in that point. You don't want anything that's going to be completely taken off course. Like this one here, I like how it says, avoid setting goals that takes you off course. For instance, if you're a software company, setting a goal to expand into the food industry might be by becoming a gourmet chef isn't relevant. Stick to the goals that align with your core business, like enhancing your software production or expanding your market share in the tech sector. So I really like how that's put, but you got to understand, if you have a side goal, you're like, hey, I have a main mission. These are some other things I'd like to implement. That's a whole nother ball game. You would have to, set that into a whole different category. Do not mix every type of goal into one thing. Focus on that course. Have one specific goal for every little thing, and it'll be a lot better. It'll be a lot more organized. And then also have a time bound goal. And like you should always have a year goal, 5-year goal, every goal per quarter, per month, per week, per day. And that sounds extreme, but on your vision board, which will be another video on talking about the vision board, but my very first vision board, I had on there get married, have a child, have a house, find a church. I always wanted to go on a cruise. I wanted to be full-time real estate. I didn't want to be a part-time realtor. So I had a vision, all that, and that was my 5-year goal. And I was able to do that in about 3 to 4 years, which is pretty awesome. And then then you have your year goal, what you want to make, what you want to achieve, and then you break that down into quarters. Every quarter, what is my quarter should look like? Your last quarter of the year should be your hardest working quarter, because that's when it starts. It starts the new year. You don't want to start January. You don't want to start January just starting off. You want to start January where you're ready running on it. So you start on, the last quarter, how you perform. Per month, what do you do month per month? Week per week, your Monday to Fridays, your Saturday goals, and down to what you do per day. What is the goal that you need to accomplish per day, so that way your year goal and your 5-year goals can be accomplished. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you could understand and take this, and you could develop a goal for you to be super successful. If you have any questions, please reach out to me at 407-790-6232. Here's my email, and then I also have on the Winning Side website. Soon I'll be having some courses on there. Hopefully that's within my 5-year goal, to have some courses on there that'll help you be successful in every business.